Hello everyone, this is Candy, the 614 Stitcher, and today is Wednesday, February the 23rd, 2022, and this is my Flosstube episode number 36. I would like to say hello and welcome to any new subscribers that I have. Thank you so very much for giving my channel a chance and seeing if there is something that I am stitching that will enable you. And to all of my returning friends and subscribers, I really appreciate you coming back week after week and all of the support that you gave on the haul video. It was extremely long. Now that is probably the longest video that I've ever put out. And I was really surprised at how many of you actually watched all the way through the end. So thank you so very much. I really appreciate all of the support and the kindness that you all show me week after week. I have had a very busy stitching week this week. I'm wearing my new shirt, Coffee Because Adulting is Hard by Athena, Stitching Goddess Designs. I have been stitching a whole lot, and I have really just been stitching and stitching. This month, even with it being a short month, I'm surprised at all of the stitches that I have gotten into. On Thursday last week, after my video, Lynn and I met here in Columbus. She was in Columbus last week because of her son. And we had dinner at this great restaurant, and I never can remember the name of it, but it was really, really good. And then on Saturday, I was in a Zoom session with Katie and Laura Landis of the Black Needle Society, and I stitched almost until midnight with them. And then Sunday, I also participated in, which I do every week when they have it, the Garon Totem Bag Zoom session. And I really, really I enjoy being in both of those Zoom groups. It allows me to stitch with other stitchers instead of just stitching at home by myself. So again, I know I said it last week, if you have the opportunity to participate in a Zoom stitch or to Julie and I do something on Facebook where we stitch together occasionally. So if you have other stitchy friends, reach out to them and see about setting up a Zoom session or Facebook. I don't know, there's Facebook rooms or something. I don't know all about that, but I do know that it exists. And stitch with some of your friends near and far so that you are not always stitching alone. Okay. So we're going to get right into what I did do for this week. So I had sorry, I'm very thirsty. I had some finishes for this week. So my first finish for this week was Sunshine on a Stem, and this is by Hands on Design, which is the Garon Designer Focus for this month, which I'm also participating in. And it is stitched on a 16 count white Aida with mostly the called for colors or my own conversion. And so this is Sunshine on a Stem. Next, I'll be putting on, I have to cut the leaves for this, but because mine is smaller than what the actual chart called for. I'm going to have to make my leaves a little smaller, so I will be getting that FFO'd soon. This past week, I watched some videos on FFOing, making pillows and what to do so that I can start. I have so many projects that I need to really get started FFOing. My second finish for this week is also hands-on design, and it is Love You. And this was a chart. Kathy puts out charts every year for her and Mr. HOD's anniversary, and this was their 33rd anniversary piece, which was last year. I stitched mine on a 14 count Fortnite Fabrics named Carnation, and I used the DMC floss number 52. It is a variegated floss, and it goes from very, very light purple, which is here, all the way to a very, very dark purple, which is in the Y. And I love this piece. I said that I was considering giving it to my daughter. And then last week I was like, I don't know if I'm going to give it to my daughter. So it's all still up in the air. With the DMC variegated floss, I didn't do very much where I cut it and I fussy cut the floss. There are parts where I did, so down here and around, and then I didn't really fussy cut it, but I used more of the lighter tones in these two areas, and then just came back. I love this piece. The colors look much better in person than they are showing on the camera, but it is a wonderful, wonderful piece. And then today I had another finish, and this is, I'm calling it Love Heart Candy. And this was a free chart from like 2020 on the Fat Quarter Shop's website. And instead of having the word love, it had 4 X's. And so I put in the word love. And I finished this today. I just used, they provide the colors. You can make them in 4 different colors, which is how they originally did it. They did 1 in each color across. But I just, of course, did the purple one. I do think, though, that I might make the pink one and the yellow one. Well, there's 4. So there's purple, pink, yellow, and blue, I think. Because these would make nice little pillows to hang up for Valentine's Day. So that is, it's called Candy Heart by the Fat Quarter Shop, and it is a free download. They have several free charts on their website. If you go into their website and then go into the cross stitch section, it'll literally say free downloads or free charts, and they have quite a bit from quite a bit designers. They're not all Fat Quarter Shop charts. There are a lot of designer charts on there also. So those were my 3 cross-stitching charts for this week. And if you have not been here before, I also am a quilter. And I have put quilting on the back burner for a while. However, a friend has me helping them with a project, and so it has brought me back to sewing and quilting again. So I finished a placemat that I made for a friend, and I'll be giving it to them the next time I see them. But it's just a little small placemat, but I wanted to show it. These are mini charms, and then I just used a backing fabric, and I used the same fabric for the binding also. So I'm really happy about getting back into sewing and quilting again. It's been a long time coming. So those were my finishes for this week. I don't know what that was that just fell, but something just fell. So I am going to move into my new starts now. And I have one for this week. I had wanted to start Rosina Disaree, and I did start it. However, the fabric that I chose just was not going to work. I tried a couple of different of the lighter flosses on there, and they blended right in with the 1/1 stitching. So now I'm going to have to find a different fabric. So I'm going to put that new start on hold for a little while. But what I did start, this was a gift from my friend Gina, and it is Freedom 1865 by the Primitive Hare. And I am stitching this on a 16 count hue by Fortnite Fabrics with the called for DMC. And this is what I was able to get done, which is the very bottom. I started at the bottom and I'm working my way up. So that is the bottom of the chart. And this fabric has light modeling similar to the called for fabric. And I really like it. Fortnite Fabrics they do have some great fabric. So that's what the modeling looks like. And so once I come up, so her feet start about here, and then it'll be the rest of the way up. So the modeling will show in the fabric also, even after I stitch her. So that is Freedom by the Primitive Hare. The called for colors are all DMC, and the model was actually stitched on a 30 count Old Salem linen, which is also by the Primitive Hare. So that was my new start for this week. And like I said, I'm going to stitch Rosina Disaree. I just need to find the right fabric for it. I had kitted it all up when Sheila showed it on the Sunshine Stitchers, but the fabric is just not, it's too light. That's all there is to it. It's too light, the fabric that I chose. Okay, so now I am going to go on to my whips. And let's start with Stronger Together, which is a free download from the Fat Quarter Shop. They do ask that you make a donation to the United Negro College Fund. They have raised $9,000 to date. She stated that on her Flosstube this morning. And there is a link to go to, so you go to Fat Quarter Shop to make the donation, but they have a link that puts you right at the United Negro College Fund. So Fat Quarter Shop never touches the money. They don't handle it at all. It goes straight to them. And I will refresh your memory. I am doing the striking version. And here's a picture of where it was last week when I showed it. And here is where I am now. So I worked on bringing all of the red down to make this crosshatch. And then I put in the second, they call it something and I don't know what it is. I put in the second motif. So there'll be two more, one here and one more here. And then the middle. I still need to fill in the blues and the yellows in these sections. But I am so pleased with the progress that I have made on this project. I am stitching this on a 14 count graceful gray, and I'm using the called for DMC flosses on it. This pattern was designed by Cherie Spain. She is also a quilt designer. So that is my Stronger Together. My goal is to have this finished by the 28th of the month. So I'll be doing some more stitching on it. It is a very easy stitch. So, you know, I should be able to have it completed by the end of the month. My next WIP for this week was Love Is. And it is in the Just Cross Stitch magazine for February 2016. And it is I am stitching this motif right here. And so here's a picture of where it was last week when I showed it. And here is where it is now. So I did finish all of the inside of the chart. And now I am stitching the words, love is patient. And I'm going to make a change and put, instead of is kind, it's gonna end up saying love is patient and kind. Because when I read it, it just seems, when I first read it, I was like, huh? Because it says love is patient, is kind. So I am going to, instead of putting is here, I'm going to find an ampersand and put it in this space and then put kind after it. And I have plenty of room to do that with. So there is the stitching for it. I love this chart. Like I stitch on, well, I stitch on it whenever I get the opportunity, because I also want this finished this month also. So that is Love Is. I stitched this on a 14 count pink Aida, and I used Classic Colorworks Licorice Red for the red parts of the motif. And now I am using Weeks Dye Works Blackboard for the words. I did want the words darker. I just didn't want them black. So I like the way that it's coming out so far. Again, this I'm putting in my plans to have finished by next video, which will actually be March the 2nd. Can you believe we're in March already? The weather here has been crazy. So there's been people guys riding their motorcycles and everything. And so yesterday it was like 64 degrees, 65 degrees, and today is 30 degrees. But it's still winter, and now it's almost March. So it's just crazy to me how fast time is just flying. My next WIP is Wear Love, And this is this year's anniversary piece from Kathy to her husband, Bill. I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know. And here's where, that is what her finished piece looks like right now. And here's a picture of where I was last week when I showed it. Albert, you're not going out. Go lay down. You have to wait. And here is where I ended up getting to for the last week that I stitched on it. I finished, so when I showed it last week, I still needed to put in EVE, and I did that. And then the rest of the words, so all the words are in now, except for love. There's 2 more words, sorry. And then I came over and put in the arrow and some of the flowers. This here is 2 lovebirds. And that's where I'm at so far. I am not slating this particular project for a finish this month. Although I do plan to maybe work on it a little more this month and maybe on Sunday, but I'm not going to work towards a finish on it. It is very, very, fiddly is not the right word, but there are a lot of 8 stitches and change colors, 5 stitches and change colors. And so for me, when I have those kinds of projects, I just go with the flow until I get to a point where I can like, okay, now I can just stitch and be done, which will probably be once I get to the word love, because it's so much more of a color, one color. So, but with all of the magazine monthly challenges for the rest of this year, I could possibly slide it in one of my challenges and still end up getting a finish for it this year. I'm just not going to rush to get done with it because of what I have planned for Sunday. And then again on Tuesday, I'm sorry, I lost my whole train of thought. On Tuesday, March starts. And so then, you know, we'll be moving on to Rosewood Manor. So I'm not going to, you know, I still have all my planning to do for March. So I'm not going to worry about really focusing on a finish for that. So this past week Saturday was the 19th. And on the 19th of the month, I stitch on Sweet Freedom in celebration of Juneteenth. Stitch on this every 19th of the month. And this, I'm sorry, like my whole train of thought got blown out the water. This is a Stitch for Sweet Freedom by Lindy Stitches. And here's a picture of where it was when I last worked on it and showed it. And here is a picture of where I am now. So I put in a lot of work on this on Saturday. If I hold it back here, maybe. Okay. So I put in Freedom. I also put in the beginning of the T, that is the T for sweet, and one of the E's. So I need to come back in and put in sweet and the rest of the words, you know, like, but this time I stitched Freedom and part of sweet. Then I came down. So, okay. So for January, for Bringo, I had started stitching the flag, the blue of the flag, because I needed the 100 stitches. So I went with something that had the part that had the most color in it so that I could do my 100 stitches, or an hour. I had an hour or 100 stitches. So then I'm going to try to move my camera forward a little more. So with that, when I came back in on Saturday, I completed all the way down to the page break. So all of this is the first page, and this is the top part of the skirt. I need to go back in, and this red is within these little white circles. It's one stitch of red in between all of those whites. And then this, I started here, you see my string hanging. This is the white, it'll be red and white in her hand for the flag. And so I put in a lot of stitching. But my goal is to have this done before Juneteenth, 2022. And so I want to keep working on it. I am actually considering another plan and another date on this piece. So I need to be fully at the page break. I need to finish her hand and this white part of the flag. I went to go finish her hand on Saturday and can't find the skin color floss. This calls for DMC for the skin tone. And so I'm looking all over the place, and finally I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna keep looking. I'm gonna just go back out and buy another skein. And so I did go and pick up another skein. I believe it is 3862 for her skin tone. So now I can finish her hand and the flag down at the bottom. And once I get that completed, all I have left is the rest of her skirt. So here's where the page break is, right there. So then I need to put in the rest of this flag, some more blue, all of her skirt, the rest of the words, and these 3 motifs here. So starting this month, or not this month, because this month is like almost over. My plan is that starting in March, when we are not having the Garon zoom stitch, I'm going to work on, at least for 2 to 3 hours, I'm going to work on a stitch for Sweet Freedom. So that will give me an extra day every month to stitch on her, because it's at least once a month, because of the bag sale, that we don't have the Zoom session. In March, we won't be having the Zoom session because they will be at market the first Sunday of the month, or coming home or something. We won't be Zooming. Let me just say that. So I'm going to pick up a stitch for Sweet Freedom so that I can put some extra time into her, because I want it done before Juneteenth this year. I've been working on this project for far too long. It should have been done, and so I'm going to make it a priority to get it done. So those were all of my whips for this week. I don't know what's wrong with Albert, but I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to go into plans. My plans for this week are on Sunday during the Garon Stitchery Zoom. And if you want to participate in the Zoom, it is open as long as you are on their Facebook group. They post the Zoom number and the password every Sunday when they're going to do a Zoom session. So if you are not yet a member of their Facebook group, please go over, answer the questions so that you can get the information about the Zoom group. The same goes for the Black Needle Society. If you would like to participate, they do their Zoom sessions once a month. And if you sign up for their newsletter, which is on their Facebook group page, or go to the Black Needle Society website, you can sign up for the newsletter, and then you would be notified when there will be a Zoom session for the following month. So when the newsletter comes out for March, they put the information on what date the Zoom session will be for that group. So back to my plans. On Sunday, this Sunday coming up on the 27th, I'll be working on Bloom by Hands On Design from the artwork of Priscilla Blaine, Stitching with the Housewives. I will also this week work on finishing up Love Is, and I will finish putting in the February segments for my temperature butterfly. It's going to be a roller coaster for the temperature butterfly because, like I said, we've had a couple of days in the mid 60s. So it'll be interesting to see all of the colors come out on that. I do not have any haul this week. I showed it all last week. So we'll just be starting over for whenever I get my next fabric of the month. I did go to Joann's. I missed the big sale, even though I was reminded 3 times about the big DMC floss sale. I didn't go out to get any floss, but then I went yesterday because I needed the 3862 for the skin, and some of the colors that I needed for Wear Love, they still didn't have them at my Joann. So now I'm going to this weekend try to hit Michael's and see if I can get the colors so that I can have them when I work on Wear Love. So this is going to be a very short video for me. Well, not very short, it's over 32 minutes long so far, but I really do appreciate everyone that has joined in with the Garon Designer Focus. It is really fun to see everyone's pictures and what people are stitching on because it's so different across. The designer of the month for March is Rosewood Manor. So I thought that I would show a few of the Rosewood Manor charts that I have and will be starting. Only one of these charts is already started, so I will consequently have some new starts for the month of March. So the first chart that I am going to show you was actually a gift by one of my viewers, and it is And a Forest Grew. And what I have decided is that Karen Kluba is an awesome designer, and within these charts, she pulls out little mini charts, and so I have, which I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, this little tree here. I am going to pull out the motifs for this segment right here, and that is my plan to stitch on those. The viewer that sent me the book also sent me a 40 count, or maybe it was a 28 count. She also sent me a piece of fabric, but the fabric size was to do the complete chart. And I am just not at that stage yet. I still, which needs to be on my plan, I still need to restart winter snowfall. I was getting ready to start that project, and I kept hearing you need to recheck the size of the fabric. And I heard it like 3 times. And recheck that fabric. And when I did, I realized that I would literally be stitching it from edge to edge. So I decided not to, I couldn't use the fabric that I had dyed last week. So now I have changed it to an 18 count fabric, and I dyed it again last night. And so with that, I'll be able to, it'll be much smaller. However, I won't have to worry about the fabric size. The fabric is going to be large enough for me to be able to fit the whole piece on. And so that's what I'm going to go with, is an 18 count Ada that I dyed in pearl gray. So back to Rosewood Manor Month. So that's what I'm also going to do, probably the same with this piece. I'm going to work on kitting up all of my Rosewood Manor projects this weekend. I have a lot of over dye floss, and so I'm hoping that I have at least a floss. I have a lot of fabric, so that's one that I'm going to pull a motif out and stitch a motif from this chart. The second chart, this was a freebie, and it is called, it was actually, it's called a fruit basket free mini chart from Rosewood Manor. And she put this out. I'm going to hold it way back so you can, this chart I must have picked up off a freebie table, either at StitchCon or Stitch Away. And so I am going to be stitching this also. The design size is 40 by 50, so it's, you know, it's a smaller piece. And she doesn't give recommendation on fabric, just with the floss, and all of the floss for this project is either DMC or Anchor, so I should be fine with that. I'm going to double check through all of my DMC, make sure I have all the colors that I need, so that I don't have to keep running to find floss, because supply chain demand is real. My next chart that I'm going to be working on for Rosewood Manor is also the freebie that I picked up off of the, off the freebie table from Stitch Away this past January. And it does not have a name at all. So it's just a pretty flower, and I'm going to stitch that. I'm actually thinking that one of these might, I'm like 85% sure that either the fruit basket or this will be my smalls exchange for StitchCon, so that I can get them done and get them finished in time and not have to worry about it. I am, however, not going to be stitching this alphabet down here for this chart. And I'm really not sure about the border, but I'll think about it. My next new start will actually happen on March the 20th, which is the first day of spring here in the United States. And I am going to be starting Spring Quaker. And I already have the fabric pulled for it. And I am going to be ordering the Valdanis. I'm going to stitch it with the Valdanis. And the fabric that I've chosen for it is, it was a August 2021 Fabric of the Month by Be Stitch Me, and it's called Garden Party. And that is really blowing it out, but it is a pink and green fabric, and it is beautiful. Let me me see if I turn this off, if that helps it. Yeah. So it has a moderate amount of modeling in it that I think will really play well with the Vogdanis. And I will be ordering those shortly so that I can start this on March the 20th is what my plan is. And that is on a Sunday, and we will probably be in the Zoom when I start it, unless I started earlier in the morning before the Zoom. This chart I already have started for my friend Julie's birthday, and it's called Coffee. She also, I saw for Market, has come out with a tea chart also. But here is my start for the coffee chart. And it is like the very top rows in the center. I did a center start with this one. And there is one more that I will be starting. And I have to get the fabric for it, but it's not going to be a big deal. I'm going to get the fabric, and it is Christmas quilts. If you recall, I was supposed to start this with EJ on Christmas Day, but my fabric was too small. So now I'm going to order or pick up a fabric and get it started. And I know these projects are much. She calls for a 32 count antique white linen. So I'll have to see if I'm going to go with that or what I'm going to use, what fabric I'm going to use. But those are the charts that I have as of right now for Rosewood Manor. I will be placing an order. Garon Stitchery offers a 10% discount on the Designer of the Month charts. So March the 1st, I already have an order ready to put in for Rosewood Manor charts. So, and that way I can have everything. And as that comes in, then I'll make a decision whether or not I'm going to start them when they get here. So those are most of my plans for the rest of this month and next month. The ladies over at the monthly magazine challenge group, they did release the acrostic. It is Carolyn's birthday month, and so she picked furry or friends. So the month that it is Carolyn's birthday or Robin's birthday, they put out 2 acrostics for super challengers. I am not going to be a super challenger this time. So I'm going to be working on those plans also this week. So when I come back on the 2nd, I'll let you know what I chose for March for the monthly magazine challenge. I hope everyone is taking great care of themselves. Drink some water. Get up and move around more if you are working from home. Even if you're not working from home, get some movement in. Spring is coming, and you don't want to, right when spring comes, go out and start walking 2 miles a day. You need to work up to it. So, and take care of yourselves. Try to get outside and get some fresh air. I'm giving you the advice that was given to me, and I have started just putting on a hoodie, and when Albert needs to go outside, I go outside just so that I can get some fresh air and see nature and be in nature, so that it helps keep my mind clear and keeps my attitude positive. Remember to be kind, and take care of yourselves. I'll see you all next week. Bye.